What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and right now I am on my way to go analyze a single family home, and it's actually in a market that I have never shopped in before. So we're gonna go look at the property, do a quick walkthrough, run the numbers to see if it's a deal that makes sense, and talk about all the details and then make a decision on whether it's something we should buy or pass on. So with that being said, let's jump into it. Now, just to give you a little rundown on how I found this property, it's actually an off-market deal, and it's in a city that's a little outside of the normal cities that I shop. What happened is I've got my buddy, his name's Garrett Myers. You may have seen him in some of the other videos that I've done. We've done a walkthrough on one of the properties he purchased, and I've gone out and done door-to-door sales stuff with him. And he called me up. He's actually out in Texas working right now. Actually, no, he's in Seattle for the week. So he called me and he said, Chandler, I've got this property. I've got it under contract. I already got the inspection done. However, I was going to 1031 from another property into this one because I'm in the middle of doing a bunch of other transactions right now, and I don't think that I can put this deal together because of my financial situation right now, because the money that was going to come through is no longer coming through. So he called me up and said, look, I think it's a great deal. You should go check it out. Go walk through it. Let me know what you think. And if you think it's a good deal, I actually think you can buy it instead of me, because right now I don't think I'm gonna end up going through with it. So obviously I'm pumped to go check it out and see. The thing that makes this deal kind of tricky is if we're gonna pull it off, we have to close within 1 week. And a lot of times you get situations like this when it's something that's off market, especially on these single family homes. So we're gonna go and see what the state of the property is, how good of a deal it is, and if I think that it's worth finding a way to come up with 80 grand to throw into this deal to get it under contract, get it fixed up, get it rented, and then either sell it or just hold on to it. So we're gonna run through all of the numbers, do a quick walkthrough of the property, and let you know whether I think it's a good deal or a bad deal. And so with that being said, let's jump into it. One other thing I wanted to mention, I'm actually in the new C8 Corvette driving out there. Now, I'm not doing this to flex right now. I'm actually telling you that I would never drive this car to go and inspect a property or do a walkthrough, especially if there's a risk of running into the owner or tenants or anything like that, because usually that isn't going to help your case, especially if you're trying to work a good deal on the property. However, no one is at this property, and I was already 30 minutes down the road towards this when my buddy called and said, hey, go check this property out. Do you think you're there? Do you think you could look into it? And so I said, hey, let's just make it happen because I'm already on my way. So I'm driving up to go check it out in this car, even though normally I would never do that or suggest doing something like that. All right, so here it is. Looks like it is a corner lot. And honestly, guys, this is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. The siding needs some serious work. So you can see it is vacant. That siding just needs some real work. That's a big expense. You can strip it down and paint it or cover it up. I'd probably paint it, but you got to strip the whole thing and repaint the whole thing. This is an old house. Looks like they're watering it right now. So no sprinkler systems. Got both water setups back here. So got lots of issues that you're gonna have to take care of out here that I'm sure is gonna turn out to be a larger expense. Guys, I got my new shoes on and I do not want to try and skip through the water here. I'm gonna see what we can do. Whoa! All right, looking for the hidden key right now, but I'm having a real struggle figuring out where it is. It's gonna be over under here. All right, I gotta call him and figure out where the key is. All right, guys, you're not gonna believe this, but this is actually not the right house. And there's probably someone in there. I don't know though, I'm gonna leave. So whoever lives there, if you see this video, I'm really sorry. What's going on, guys? We finally made it to the proper house here. It was quite the ordeal getting here. I had to take a 20-30 minute detour, but we made it. And now we're gonna go check out this property and run the numbers and see where we end up. So with that being said, let's go check it out. Now, this is a very small city, very rural area. And so we're gonna go see what we can find. First thing, noticing that this is stucco. Looks like it's got some real issues in the stucco here, up here. We're gonna check the inspection and see if that's something that actually matters or just doesn't look pretty. So I'm gonna do an exterior look really quick. Always being careful to not step in dog crap because I've got my new shoes on. On this side, the stucco's peeling. A lot different when you've got stucco peeling. There's even paint under that. I'm not that worried about that. Now, that being said, you can paint it to get it looking nice, but it's not something that needs to be done anytime soon. You've got your sidewalk tearing up here. It's a quick and easy fix though. Looking at the backyard, looks like there is a very sketchy garage back here. And actually looks like there's a nice bike. So I wonder if someone's home. Give you a peek at that. That thing looks like it's gonna dang come in on you. Hello, is anybody here? So, looks like they're storing some stuff. That definitely I would not hang out there. Also, just a shout out to pest control. Look at all those wasp nests, my heavens. If you need a guy, I know a guy. Okay, backyard, total trash. Something to be expected with property like this. Let's go check out inside and see what we find. The lead we have on this, we're gonna be able to pick it up for 80 grand. We might have a little wiggle room. However, if we are gonna pick it up for that, we've gotta close in a week, which means it's gonna need to be cash because not even my loan guy can work that quick and it needs to be done ASAP. So hidden key, all right. Hello, hello, is anyone here? So, notice a little leakage. I'm guessing roof is not great. However, you've got a lot of square footage in here. It's a 1-bedroom place. Currently, it's not in the best of shape. Looks like they redid the shower in here. Very clean. Looks like everything works. Right away, we're thinking between $800 and $1,000 a month in rents, and the purchase price at $80,000. That makes it right in the range where I think should work, especially out here where I know that taxes are gonna be cheaper. So check this out. You've got the fridge in this little cutout. I've never seen anything like that. Not bad though, very creative. So in here, when I'm looking at a kitchen, I'm saying, okay, for what I'm gonna rent to, everything is actually in pretty decent shape to be able to rent. Now, there are cracks in the wall, there's little stuff here and there, but overall, a little bit of paint is going to go a long way in this place. And if I was in my normal market, I would say a place like this, I should be able to at least get $900 to $1,000, especially if we could get the yard cleaned up, and I wouldn't need a ton of work. Now again, it's gonna come down to the inspection. I wanna see how bad the roof is and if that's gonna need to be fixed right away, because all over I'm seeing leaks, and that's something that, especially on a property that's so cheap like this one, that can be a very expensive ordeal, and I'm seeing issues everywhere with leaks. So I would bet a lot of money that we've got major roof issues that we need to take care of. And you wanna make sure you get that done right, because otherwise you can deal with mold, you can deal with consistent problems. And so that's one thing we wanna check in on. But that's it. So just to give you guys the quick tour, you've got the living room in here, all right? Front door's right there. You're gonna come right in to the master bedroom. That could probably use a little tidying up, but it smells like Axe, so that's always good. The bathroom, small bathroom. This is the only bathroom I've seen in the place, so it's 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. Nice storage back in here. This is like a very large closet. I don't know where the light is for it though, so you're just gonna kind of have to take a gander there. Good storage area. And then when you walk in here, you've got the kitchen. You've got that garage outside that's probably gonna fall down. You've got the kitchen right in here. Now, this kitchen, honestly, I probably wouldn't do anything to. They've got cabinets that work. There isn't any major damage. Also, if it gets to the point, a cleanup on these is gonna make them look brand new. And for this area and what you're wanting to rent for, it's not bad to just clean these up. They've got the new countertops. And so I'm looking at something like this, and for 1 bedroom place to live, this could be a great opportunity for someone to rent. They've got their washer and dryer in here. They've got a yard. If they did want to have a dog, I think that'd be a great opportunity. I'm also seeing this down here, but a unit like this, I wouldn't be afraid to let them have a dog in here, especially if you get a bigger deposit and monthly rents for it. I'm going to want to figure out what's going on the roof. But overall, this is a property that I'm not scared away from at all, especially if you can make the numbers work. Now, the other thing here, you've got a lot of slope in the floor. I want to make sure that the foundation is in good shape, but this might even be slab on grade. And we'll check all of that stuff out in the inspection. When I'm coming through, I just wanna say, all right, how much work would I need to do? And what I'm seeing is you've got to fix the stuff in the roof because that'll scare someone away if you're getting good tenants in here. But then just touch up, I'm not seeing any major things I would change for this particular area. Once you get paint, the flooring's in good shape, the kitchen's in good shape, the bathroom had been somewhat renovated. We'll get the ceiling patched up. This is something that if it was in my market for this price, I would jump all over it. I'd be super pumped because I knew rents I can make work. The only thing I'm worried about is this market I know is going to bring in less. So I want to check this area and make sure that rents are gonna be where they need to be. So let's lock this door back up. If you can't lock the door, you just lock it from the inside. Then you toss the key back where it goes. So overall, I think this is kind of a cute little property. Maybe some of you would disagree, but you look not in terrible shape. We're gonna take a quick peek at the inspection before we finish up this video. General consensus after doing the walkthrough, I really like this property if it was in my market, but I don't know about this market yet. So I'm gonna go and dive into rents. Overall, I think this is something that you could rent very easily. It's in pretty decent shape for the price. There are little things I would fix, but I wouldn't go ham on this property. I honestly would touch up paint. I would fix the ceiling. I would figure out what's going on there. And the other good news is if you look up here, you can see that's actually a new roof. So my guess is all of those issues that are happening inside were there before and they just haven't finished the inside, but they changed the roof to get it taken care of. Now, we'll look into that further in the inspection and make sure they didn't just slap anything on top. But by looking at it, you can see, I mean, that's looking pretty new and it looks like they didn't slap it on top of an old crappy roof, but they actually put on good shingles and set it up. So one more quick look back here, but overall, I feel really good about this property if the numbers work. As a property, I don't think there's anything that I'm super worried about. However, I'm gonna make sure I double check the foundation, double check the roof, make sure that any of these cracks in the stucco aren't anything that's gonna cause serious problems long-term, but are more just artificial stuff showing in the front. And then you look back here, this thing, look at that bad boy. It's totally tilting, really good for you. But then you've actually got a pretty decent yard if you cleaned it up. So I just see a lot of potential in this property. The other thing I see potential for that I might look into is it could be a pretty good property to flip if you wanted to go that direction. It just depends on this market, again, that I don't know, but I'm gonna show you guys that whole process, how I'm gonna go in and find out. So that's the walkthrough, what I'm looking for. Other thing that I didn't point out, it looks like all of the windows are actually new. So you've got a new roof, you've got new windows, you've got a lot of those big things that I would be worried about that seem to be fixed. And then if everything comes back clean in the inspection, I'm definitely comfortable to look in and see if I can make numbers work. But if I can rent this thing for 900 bucks, I bet I would take it all day, every day. We just got to make sure that this area is going to rent for that and that there's nothing weird in the inspection. All right, guys, if you're wondering, yes, I am in a different car and different clothes, but I wanted to make sure I really did good research on this area before I put this video out. And so I called multiple different listings in this small city, which was actually pretty difficult because they don't have a lot of listings up. Now, there's part of me that wanted to say, hey, that's a good thing. That means there's a huge need. There's a shortage of housing. You should be able to fill your unit pretty easily in this city. However, it's not even really a city. It's like a small town. And so with that being the case, I am very nervous about this market because it's so small. Now, does that mean you should never invest in these areas? No, I think that there are opportunities to absolutely kill it. However, I just didn't want to really dive into this city as much as I would need to. And the little bit that I did dive into it, I was pretty turned off by what I found. Here's what I found. Now, the first step I took is I plugged it into Rent-A-Meter. Now, this is something that I advise everyone to do when you're getting to know an area, but it's not the most efficient or effective, and here's why. When you plug in 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and a certain area, a lot of times it's gonna pull comparables from apartments or multifamily real estate. What this means is you could have numbers coming from a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment that's in this area when you're looking into buying a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom house. Now, the house should always rent for more, and I understand that. However, the numbers it gave me were substantially lower than the market that I'm in for a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. What this means is all of the numbers are going to be lower. So right away, I was nervous about that. Then I started calling a bunch of 1 bedroom places, and there literally was only one, and it was listed for very low. I think it was $750 that it was listed for. It was in pretty decent shape too. Like, it wasn't necessarily better or worse than what I was looking at, and they still hadn't filled it. Then I called a 2-bedroom house and a couple 2-bedroom homes, and all of those were listed between $900 and $1,000, and they all seemed pretty anxious to try and find someone to put into them. So when I'm looking at a 2-bedroom house, a lot of these that were in better shape than what I was thinking about buying with this property, and the top of the market for those is about $900, and I'm seeing other 1-bedrooms that aren't able to rent quickly at $750, and that's what they're listed at, and I'm thinking at least I've got to get $800. I mean, I was pretty nervous about rents. Now, with that being said, I'm still gonna run the numbers and show you, but if I'm running the numbers on this property, I've gotta run it at $750 rents, and I've gotta recognize that this is a market I don't understand. So on a property like this, in an area like this, I think I would have to be at 20% plus on my cash on cash return to even get me taking it seriously, because I just don't get the best vibe about this small town. Now, is the property awesome? If it was in my normal market, would I buy it in a heartbeat? 100%. However, I'm just not feeling super comfortable about this area, but we're gonna run the numbers anyways on a worst case scenario. And if they look good, then maybe I'll consider it. But otherwise, I already think I'm most likely gonna pass on this property. The other thing I've got to remember is they need to close in a week. That's not enough time for me to do as much research on this little town as I would like to do. Now, am I going to start looking at it more for future potential? Maybe, but the more I think about it, a small town like this, I think there's so many things that could just wreck an economy of a small town. Now, do I know what all those things are? Probably not. However, I just want to stay in cities that have 100,000 plus, because that's what I'm comfortable with. I feel like it would take a lot to throw an economy in an area like that completely off kilter, and that's just kind of what I'm comfortable with. Now, you can call me a weenie, you can say that I should take a different approach, but that's what my gut is telling me. And unless I find new information, I mean, we'll still show you how I run the numbers, but I personally just don't think this is a deal that I'm gonna end up going through with. All right, guys, I'm back in my office and I'm gonna just run through the numbers on this property, but you need to know a couple things. First off, I got the inspection back. There's a lot of settling that I already knew about. It doesn't sound like there's anything major from the inspection. So had this property been in my market where I knew I could get the rents that were needed to make this property work, I think I'd be pretty excited about it. However, I don't know if you've noticed, but after doing some of the bigger deals, I've kind of lost my enthusiasm for doing single family home deals. And that doesn't mean they're bad deals for you and your situation. I'm sure they're great. They were a great place for me to start. I've loved them for a long time. I'm sure I'll still do some in the future, but it's so hard to get really excited about a single family home as a rental after you've done, a 24 plex or a 32 plex. And so maybe that's why I've been a little bummed about this property. However, the new market has had me nervous. It was a property that needed above average work. With the settling, with the issues on the roof, I dug into it more. The roof is new, so those things are done. However, I do believe I'm gonna have to change a lot of sheetrock, get the roof all patched up and looking better. There are also little things around the home that are gonna need to be tweaked. I also thought there's gonna be a lot of work out in the yard. And so I guesstimated costs of about $3,000. Now, is that high to be able to get this to rent ready? Yeah, it probably is, but I'm really comfortable with those numbers, and we're gonna run through all of the numbers and see what you think. Now, with plugging it in, we've got an $80,000 purchase price, $3,000 to make rent ready, 25% down and 2% for closing costs. Now, keep in mind, with this, I can't really negotiate super hard on closing costs because I'm gonna have to refinance this property later because they need us to close within a week, which also makes this a deal where it needs to be a very strong deal for me to want to take some risk and jump on it, because I'm gonna have to find a way to come up with cash or hard money to get it and then refinance later. And so for a deal like that, like I said earlier, I probably want 15, 20% cash on cash return plus if I'm gonna make this work. So with that being the case, I plugged in interest rate of 4.25. Maybe that's a little high, but again, I wanna be conservative and 30 years to pay it off. Now, I'm gonna run the numbers at 800 on rents. I honestly think that's high. I think 750 would make me comfortable. I think after we cleaned it up, maybe we could pull 800. But again, I'm gonna talk about some of the other reasons I'm not comfortable with this. However, I'm using this to show you the numbers because I'm not gonna buy this deal, and I'm gonna show you why. So even at 800, best case scenario, I'm doing 6% vacancy. Again, that's best case scenario. This is a market I don't understand, but I know after calling around, it was very easy to see that some of the people there are having a hard time filling their units, even though there are very few of them that are listed. So 6% vacancy, again, That's generous. So 12% maintenance, 8% management, no utilities, no additional expenses. I checked out the taxes. I'm guessing they're gonna be around $1,200. Again, that's high. I think they'll be between $1,000 and $1,200. The reason that's a guess is they had the homeowner's exemption because they were living in the property. And when we run the numbers, you're not gonna be living in it, you're gonna be renting it. And $300 for insurance, that should work. So we're gonna run the numbers on this property. I'm getting a 9% cash on cash. Now, I do not believe I can push the rents any further than that. If this would have come back even at 12 or 15, I think I probably would have bailed on this deal as well, and here are my reasons behind it. It's a very small area that I don't have enough time to analyze this market, but even if I did, I'm just not comfortable with areas that have under maybe 80,000 people. I said 100,000 earlier. I think 80,000 and above, if you've got an area like that, it can support itself. There's not one business or one scenario that I think could completely wreck the economy. Now, even in my market of 100,000 people, I think I'm still on the edge, but I'm comfortable with that. This market is just too small for me. I don't have time to completely understand it. I don't have enough comps to get comfortable on what I can push rents to, but I do know it's got to be less than where I'm at. And even at where I'm at, we're pushing it on these numbers. And so after running the numbers, after looking at the report, after all of that, this is a no deal for me. However, hopefully looking at this process helped you to understand things that could have changed it for me. Inspection didn't scare me away. It was pretty clean. The settling isn't something that I was nervous about. And those issues on the roof with the sheetrock that might have scared some people away, not an issue for me. I know what I can do to fix those things. Not a big deal. The biggest thing that turned me away from this deal is the fact that it's such a small area, and after I called around and checked other comparable rentals, I just wasn't confident in the market, and I think that's something you've got to be. Now, some people might say I'm crazy. Maybe they go into this market and they see that it can rent for more, and they're not worried about vacancy, and they think it's a good area, and they grew up here, and they know the area, and they know connections, and yada, yada, yada. Maybe that's good for you. But me going into a new market with this deal, it's not something I'm gonna look at. If it would have been a super, super strong deal, maybe I would have been on it. However, with the urgency, with the smaller market, with the rents really not even being close, I mean, a 9% cash on cash return, maybe they can pull 900 on rents. Maybe that's something that can happen. But for me, even with that, it just doesn't make sense on this property with everything that's going into it. Now, I hope I wasn't too brief in explaining these things. Just to reiterate, small market scared me away. Cash on cash return isn't where it needs to be, but even if it was, I would want it to be more aggressive. There were issues with the property, but overall, had this been in my market with this deal, and I knew I could pull 900 to 1,000 in rents, all day, every day, I think I would have jumped on this deal because it would have been in a place that I'm comfortable with. However, this one is not, so we're gonna take a hard pass, and I'm hoping, looking from start to finish it the way that I analyze this property helps you to better understand and analyze single family homes yourself. So with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future videos. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.